Now to our other top story tonight, two scandals involving those connected to Mayor Adams.
And joining us for the very latest, Fox Eye's Morgan McKay and Linda Schmidt. I want to start with Morgan first and the arraignment of Ingrid Lewis-Martin. More charges that she's been hit with.
So Ingrid Lewis-Martin is one of Mayor Eric Adams' longest-serving advisors. Her husband was in the police academy with Mayor Eric Adams. She was chief of staff when he was state senator in 2008, and she continued to serve with him until last year when she resigned abruptly when she was charged in a separate indictment last year for also bribery charges. But these are 4 new indictments that she's facing today, and the prosecutors are alleging that she took around $75,000 in bribes in exchange for political favors. And it wasn't just cash that they allege that she took, it was also $10,000 worth in free seafood.
Crab cakes.
Yes, crab cakes was cited in the evidence, and also an appearance in a TV show called Godfathers of Harlem. She also apparently was angling for a role in Blue Bloods, allegedly. That's what the court papers are saying. Now, something that really stood out to me in these court documents was that prosecutors were tapping Ingrid Lewis-Martin's phone for almost all of 2024, and that was a lot of the evidence cited in these indictments. But this wasn't even the craziest thing to happen in Mayor Eric Adams' circle this week. Now, Mayor Adams was not named in any of these indictments, but of course this comes at a really bad time for him as he's seeking re-election, and just another
it's part of his orbit. It's not a good look.
Trying to shake off allegations of corruption, and then this happens.
That's
and then
right. It keeps circling back to City Hall, but I want to bounce off of something that Morgan was just saying. You know, Lewis-Martin, they have been friends now for 40 years, more than 40 years, and they often refer to one another as family. So this is not just a political ally. This is really
nothing would get to the mayor without going through her until she resigned.
Correct. And then the other big story, I mean, this is something that really caught everybody, I think, by surprise. We're talking about Winnie Greco. Now, she had been the mayor's liaison with the Chinese American community. This was up until last year, but then she became the target of multiple investigations. In fact, federal investigators raided 2 of her homes in the Bronx last year, and then she was forced to resign. So far, again, no charges have been filed against her. But then yesterday, because she is a volunteer with the mayor's re-election campaign, even though she resigned last year, here she is, she's a volunteer with the re-election campaign. And then she sees a reporter from one of these online news sites called The City, and the reporter's name is Katie Honan, and she's covered the mayor extensively, as well as the stuff going on with Winnie Greco and everything that was involved with her investigations
sort of a must-follow
last year.
reporter if you're involved in politics in the city, right? We all follow her, sure.
So she's up there for the grand opening of the mayor's newest campaign headquarters in Harlem, and she sees Winnie Greco, and Winnie Greco sees her. And then a short time later, she goes up to Katie Honan and says, hey, meet me across the street at the Whole Foods. And she meets her across the street. She's thinking she's going to be getting information from her. And she hands her this bag of potato chips. And inside is a red envelope that ended up having money inside of it. One $100 bill and some 20s. And Katie didn't realize it right away. So when she realized it, of course, she contacted her bosses. They contacted authorities right away. And then they also reached out to Winnie Greco again to say, hey, what are you giving me money for? What is this all about? And she apologized profusely. And then her attorney spoke on her behalf, saying, look, the bottom line with this is that, you know, it was just a gesture because she's fond of this reporter and she knows her, and that this is common practice in the Chinese American culture, that you give people money.
In the red envelope.
Yeah, in the red envelopes. You know, so then we all started thinking, well, wait a minute, I don't know, is that true? Because I don't know that much about the Chinese American culture.
To call it a cultural miscommunication, you know.
It's offensive in its own right, honestly.
Right.
You know,
so then
a bag of potato chips for what it actually is, its use is for.
Correct. So then I reached out to an organization called the Chinese, wait, hold on, I want to get this right here. Hold on just a second. Where did I write that? The Chinese American Citizen Alliance, and I spoke to the founding president. And as soon as I called her and I said, look, you know, I'm Linda Schmidt with Fox 5 News. I just wanted to ask you about your culture. Immediately she said, oh, Winnie Greco, I know that's why you're calling. And she said, this is so embarrassing that we absolutely do not hand out red envelopes of money to reporters, and we certainly do not give it to people ever in potato chip bags. And that as part of the culture, what they do is like they'll put $1 or $2 in a red envelope when they're meeting a family for the first time and they're meeting their children. Instead of giving the kids candy, they give
As
them a
Winnie
buck or
Greco knows, she's been beside the mayor since 2014,
Yes.
involved in politics the whole time.
And very
I mean,
involved
it's
in
just,
the Asian community and helping to facilitate that between him and the mayor's office.
And that's why she was there. That's why she
Right.
was part of the mayor's team to be able to help facilitate this. And it's common to have someone to reach out to these various communities.
And this comes at such a time, too, when the mayor is trying to separate himself from all of the scandals that plagued him last year and the beginning of this year, his now dropped criminal case. And you'll remember that Winnie Greco, when her home was raided by federal agents, she was like the second person to have her home raided by federal agents last fall, right before Mayor Eric Adams ended up getting indicted, and some of the other people ended up falling around him as well. And she was part of that kind of purge that Governor Kathy Hochul was asking of Adams, and he got rid of a lot of people, like the former police commissioner Edward Caban and the school chancellor David Banks, all those other people that were also being investigated by federal authorities. So they were just he's trying to separate himself in this re-election
But they
bid,
don't really
of
go
course,
away if people are there. Yeah, we do have to leave it there. It is fascinating. I mean, only here in
Only
24
here in New
hours
York.
do we have both of these stories. These would be the stories of the campaign anywhere else. Unreal. May you live in interesting times, as they say.